Mystics have always been in awe before existence. The physicist is for the first time in awe, because he is for the first time touched something very vital. Otherwise he was just looking from the outside. A stone is just a stone from the outside. The physicist now knows that the stone is not just a stone. It contains universes. A single small pebble that you can hold in your hand contains so much atomic energy that the whole universe can grow out of it. Contains so much atomic energy that the whole universe can be destroyed by it. It is not just a pebble anymore. And it is not solid anymore. Although you are holding in your hand and you know it is solid, but your knowing is no more scientific. It only appears solid. It is liquid. And it looks so available, manipulatable. You can do things with it, but you don't know its mysteries, which are not manipulatable. And the mysteries are really immense, almost as immense as the mystery of God itself. The modern physicist is using the language of the mystics for the first time. Eddington said, the universe no more looks like a thing, but like a thought. This, from the mouth of a scientist, a Nobel Prize winner. Universe looks like a thought and not like a thing. That means universe is more consciousness than matter. And the matter has been analyzed. Our penetration has become deeper. We have come across atoms, electrons, neutrons. And we are utterly mystified, at a loss even to express what we have come across. We don't have language, right language for it, because we had never known it. Now the right language has to be found in the words of the mystics. A Buddha will be helpful. A Lao Tzu will be helpful. And scientists are looking into the words of the Buddhas to find right language, because these are the people who have been talking about paradox, mystery. And now science is coming across paradoxes. The greatest paradox is that the electron behaves in such a mysterious way that the scientist has no language to express it. It behaves simultaneously as a particle and as a wave. This is impossible, inconceivable by the mind. Either something is a particle or it can be a wave. The same thing at the same time cannot be both. You know Euclidean geometry. Either something is a point or something is a line. One thing at the same time cannot be a point and a line together. A line means many points following each other in sequence. A single point cannot function like a line. But that's how electrons are functioning. Simultaneously, as a point and a line, as a particle and a wave. What to make out of it? How to say it? The scientist is dumb. Now he knows that the mystics who have always been talking in paradoxes, who have been saying God is far away and very close by, must be saying something through their experience. The mystics who used to say that life and death are one, not two, for the first time are becoming relevant to the scientist's mind. A new science is arising, which says it is a science of uncertainty. No more certainty. Certainty seems to be too gross. Mahavira, 25 centuries before, used to state each of his statements with a perhaps. If you had asked him, is there God? He will say perhaps. In those days, it was not understood at all. Because how can you say perhaps? Either God is or is not. It seems so simple and so logical. If God is, God is. If He is not, He is not. What do you mean by perhaps? Now it can be understood. Mahavira was using the language in religion, the same language that is being used by Albert Einstein in physics. Albert Einstein calls it the theory of relativity. Exactly the same Mahavira has called his philosophy, Sapekshavad, the theory of relativity. Nothing is certain. Everything is flexible, fluid. By the moment you have said something, it is no more the same. Things don't exist, Mahavira says, but only events. That's what modern science is saying. There are no things in the world, but only events. And we cannot say anything absolutely. We cannot say this is so. Whenever somebody says this is so, absolutely, he is behaving foolishly. In the past, he was thought to be a man of knowledge. The more certain he was, the more it was thought that he knows. The uncertain person, the hesitating person, was thought to be ignorant. That's why Mahavira could not influence the world too much. He had come too early. Before his time he arrived. Now is the time for him. Now he will be understood by the scientist, by the highest intelligence in the world. But he was talking to people, ordinary masses, who could not understand his Syatvad, perhapsism. People wanted certain knowledge. Is there God? And Mahavira will say, perhaps. Yes, it can be said yes in one way, and it can be said no in another. And both are together simultaneously right. Now the time has come. Ananda Prabhu, don't try to reconcile. That will be a false phenomenon. Just watch. Just look deep into things as they are. They are already reconciled. There is no conflict in existence. All contraries are complementaries. You say meditativeness and science are difficult to reconcile. If you try to reconcile, they are not only difficult, it is impossible. It cannot be done. You will go mad. The very effort of reconciling them will drive you crazy. Avoid such an effort. Rather, on the contrary, simply watch. Life is paradoxical. It is already a synthesis of the paradox. The opposites are already meeting in it. All that we know and all that we need to do is a pure mirror-like consciousness, so that whatsoever life is, it is reflected. And you will see in that reflection the meeting of the opposites, the meeting of East and West, the meeting of religion and science. You say, yet painting a picture, writing a poem, and solving a scientific problem all bring the same joy, the same joy. Yes, they can, because art is just in the middle of both. Equidistance from religion and science. Art has the qualities of both. One aspect of art is scientific, the technological aspect. Hence the scientist can paint and enjoy painting and will have the same joy. And the mystic can also paint and will have the same joy as prayer, as meditation. Although both are doing different things, the mystic's painting will be totally different from the scientist's painting. You can look, modern painting in the West is too much under the influence of technology. It has lost beauty. It is no more helpful in bringing you to the divine presence that permeates existence. On the contrary, it simply reflects the insane mind of man. Looking at Western painting, you will feel dizzy, nauseous, ill. Zen masters have also painted, but their painting is totally different. Watching a Zen painting, you will feel uplifted. A feeling of subtle joy will arise in you. You would like to dance or sing or play on your flute. The Zen painting comes from the other side, the mystic's side. Picasso, Dali, and others come from the side of science. Now there is no similarity between a Picasso painting and the painting of a Zen master. No similarity. They are two totally different worlds. And the reason is, the painters are different. Yes, Anand Prabhu, you may be feeling the same joy in painting, writing a poem, solving a scientific problem. It is all mind. Solving a scientific problem is mind. Your poem will also be more or less mathematical, logical. It will have only the form of the poetry, but its spirit will be prose. That's why in the West poetry is dying. Painting has become ugly. A sculpture is no more representative of nature. Something immensely is missing. The spirit, the very spirit of art is missing. Looking at a Zen painting, you will be overwhelmed. Something from the beyond will start showering on you. Have you watched a Zen painting closely? There are few things you will be surprised to see. Human figures are very small, so small that if you don't look minutely, you will miss them. Trees are big, mountains are big, sun and moon, rivers, waterfalls. But human beings are very small. In the Western painting, the human being is very big. He covers the whole canvas. Now this is not right. This is not proportionate. This is not true. The human being covering the whole canvas is very egoistic. But the painter is egoistic. The Zen master is right. Man is only a tiny part in this great universe. The mountains are big, and the waterfalls are big, and the trees are big, and the stars, and the moon, and the sun. And where is man? Just the other day I was seeing a Zen painting. The man was so small, two small figures crossing a bridge, that I would have missed, because tall mountains, trees are covering the whole painting. But there is a note underneath the painting that please don't miss, there are two human figures on the bridge. Then I had to look very closely. Yes, they were there, two human figures, very small, walking hand in hand, passing the bridge. This is right proportion. This is a non-egoistic painting. In Western paintings, you will find the whole canvas covered. In the Zen painting, only a small part of the canvas is covered. And the remaining is empty. It looks a wastage. If you are going to make such a small painting, why not use a small canvas? Why use such a big canvas which covers the whole wall and just at the corner a small painting? But the Zen people say that's how things are. Emptiness is too much all around. The whole sky is empty. How can we leave the sky? If we leave the sky, the painting will be untrue. Now, no Western painting has that vision that we are surrounded by emptiness. The earth is very small. Humanity, a very small part of the earth. An infinite emptiness all around. To be true, to be existentially true, the emptiness cannot be left outside. It has to be there. This is a different vision from a different side. Zen painting is not made in the Western way. In the Western painting, you will find the painter goes on improving. On one paint there will be another paint and still another paint, and he goes on improving and touching and doing things. Zen painters cannot do that. That is impossible. They use a certain kind of paper, rice paper, on which you can make only one stroke. You cannot correct it. You have to leave it as it is. The paper is so thin that if you try to correct, the whole thing will be lost. Why rice paper is being used? So that the mind has nothing to do. The mind is constantly trying to improve, to make things better. It has to be from the heart, a single stroke. If your heart is full of it, it will come right. But you cannot correct it. Correction comes from the mind. The Zen painting is never corrected. If you correct it, your correction will always show that you are not a master. It has to come out of your meditativeness, your silence. Your feel of the moment is spread on the rice paper. Art is just in the middle, equidistant from science and religion. It can be both. It can be scientific art as it is in the West. That's what you mean, Ananda Prabhu. It can be religious art. You don't know anything about it yet. Because before you can know anything about it, you will have to know what meditation is. Meditation is not a state of concentration. It is not a state of mind at all. It is a state of total mindlessness and not a state of sleep either. No mind, no sleep. No mind, but total awareness. Out of that awareness, you bring a different quality to music, to painting, to poetry. And out of that meditativeness, you can bring a totally different quality to science too. But before that can happen, we will need large numbers of meditative people around the earth. That's what my work is. That's what I am trying to do here. Creating meditators. That is the first requirement if we want to bring a new world vision where science and religion can meet. We will have to create the foundation first. Only then the temple can be raised on it. Meditation has to be the foundation. And don't try to reconcile. Just become more meditative. In your meditation is reconciliation. Because in your meditation, you become able to see that the contradictions are only apparent, that the contraries are only enemies on the surface, but deep down they are friends. It is like two friends playing chess. On the surface they are enemies, but deep down they are friends. That's why they are playing chess. They are friends. But because they are playing chess, they are pretending to be enemies. This is the lila of existence, the play of existence. God has divided himself into two, because that is the only way to play hide and seek. It is a very beautiful play if you understand it as play. Don't take it too seriously, because then you will not be able to see the playfulness of it. You ask me, why is it so difficult to be meditative and a scientist? It is not. It is difficult to be meditative for everybody. It is not a question of a scientist. Anand Prabhu is a scientist. But it is the same difficulty as a businessman will feel. It is the same difficulty as the carpenter will feel. It is nothing new to the scientist. Maybe quantitatively it is a little more difficult, because his whole mind knows only one way of functioning, that of concentration. He knows only one way how to use the mind, by focusing it on a certain object. And meditation means remaining unfocused, just remaining open for everything. While listening to me, you can listen in two ways. The scientific way is concentrate. What I am saying, concentrate on it. That means close your mind to everything else. The aeroplane passes by, and the train makes noise, and the traffic on the road, and the birds singing in the trees. Close your mind to everything. Just let there be only a small keyhole available to me. Only listen to me. That's how the scientist listens. He looks through a keyhole into existence. The mystic comes out of the room, stands under the sky utterly open to everything. That is another way of listening. The way a meditator listens. Then you go on listening to me, and the chirping of the birds goes on as a background to it. And what I am saying, the chirping of the birds cannot